The dog days of summer are waning as the crisp morning air awakens us on this mid-September morning. We find ourselves in Durango, Colorado, on the precipice of the autumnal equinox, where for the first time since 2019, one can find 3 scheduled trains to Silverton. Today we find the 8:15 Silverton Mixed, train number 461, led by K-36, number 482, departing on time as the conductor gives the high sign and engineer Kylah gives 2 blasts of the whistle, eases the throttle open, and we're rolling. We'll follow train 461 up the valley, while behind it will be trains number 463 and number 465, departing at 9 and 9:45 a.m. respectively. We first catch up to train 461 at 32nd Street, one of the few road crossings of the Animus along this length of railroad. Threading the gap between Animus City Mountain and the terminal moraine across the river, the railroad has now entered the Hermosa Valley, carved by glaciers less than 1 million years ago, just yesterday in geological terms. Located 11 miles north of the Durango depot, Hermosa is the first water tank along the line. Though today we won't be stopping here as Kylah pulls on the throttle to attack Hermosa Hill, one of the longer sustained heavy grades on the line. Clinging to the narrow shelf of the Mini High Line, the railroad is well above the valley floor and Baker's Bridge. This historic crossing of the Animus is the final road crossing of the river until well above Silverton, and was the location for some of the scenes of our heroes jumping into the river in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. We'll leave train 461 and its 1925 built Baldwin here and go high above the canyon through Purgatory Ski Area and over the lofty Cullbank and Mullis passes. We're now south of Baker's Park near milepost 493.9, where we once again meet train 461 making its way as a thunderstorm rages deep in the canyon. Floating further down the canyon, we're now at milepost 492.95 as we now finally catch train 463, led by K-37, number 493. The 493 was originally a standard gauge 280 consolidation type locomotive that was rebuilt in 1928 by the Rio Grande into its current configuration as a narrow gauge 282 Mikado in the railroad's Burnham shop. 493 is now in its fourth season of service on the Durango and Silverton, having been returned to steam in 2020 after over 50 years of sitting unused. Later, we find 100-year-old number 476 leading up train 465. This 1923 Mikado, built by the American Locomotive Company, is one of the most iconic locomotives on the Silverton, having hauled cargo and passengers through this narrow defile in the San Juans since the early 1930s. Let's watch as it gets its hide past the Snowshed Slide and heads right into Silverton. The clouds have been swept away, and the sun has returned to the depths of the Animas Canyon as we're next to the remains of the King Mines ore tipple, which burned down in 2007. One of the last such structures along the line. King Mine was located directly across the river, and the ore was ferried via tram over the Animas here. First in and first out, 482 now leads train 462, the first southbound Silverton Mixed, through the gap at Cataract Falls, which has been reduced to a mere trickle by this time of year. We find ourselves out of the canyon and into the relatively wide expanse of Baker's Park as 493 departs from Silverton yard limits, leading up what's now train 464 on its journey home. Finally, we're just southwest of the depot as train 466 eases out of Silverton on the drawbar of the 476. We'll leave the 3Ks here as we climb over them via our high mountain passes on our southward journey as we leave the silvery San Juans behind. You're still here? Go home. It's over. No, wait. Okay, so you're already home. Make sure you click like and subscribe. Check out one of these other videos up here. And, yeah, do it for Zephyr, huh? Say hi to the people, Zephyr. They love you, huh? Yeah? Can you say hi? No? Okay.